Is this the barbershop? Is this the barbershop?
Yes,
it is. It's the barbershop. Well, I mean, we can't talk straight in the barbershop. Then where can we talk straight? We can't talk straight nowhere else. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. Now, is this the barbershop? Is this the barbershop?
Yes, it is.
That ain't no whoever and whatever, whenever you want to in the barbershop. Healthy conversation. Healthy conversation. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. That ain't nobody exempt. That ain't nobody exempt. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. Healthy conversation. Man, I love this.
Yo.
What's up?
What up?
Good Monday afternoon, people.
Happy Monday. It's your boy, the barber.
This your boy, the artist.
And we in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we is in this thing. So we got a special guest with us today. The producer and founder of Transition
Talk podcast.
What's going on?
And
What's going on?
what we have done is we have started the unity of podcasts. The unity of podcasts. Podcast unity, where we're trying to bring everybody together and do and unite. So if we start here, then we should be able to reach out to everybody else and get everybody else to follow suit and bring the black community together. So we've been on this thing about uniting the community, the black community, and this is what we're on. We want so we want to introduce Train from Transition. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Man, for those who don't know, I am just pure Train. You know, I do have a podcast, the Transition Talk Show, where we talk about the transitions that we go through in life, which this even makes a whole lot of sense to be able to talk about unity, to talk about community, to talk about blacks, you know, because where we once were, where we at now, and where we look to be, it will have to have some type of transitioning that has to happen, whether that be within our mindsets or in our hearts or whatever the case may be. So, man, I appreciate you guys for bringing me on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of what we're trying to do. We want to be able to do this at least once a month and have more podcasts. So next time you come, bring your live feed where you can set your camera up, and we'll have everybody's cameras up and everybody's mics up, and all these podcasts are going simultaneously on their own platform. The unity,
but together.
Yeah.
And then for y'all that want to do this, you ain't biting. I'm inviting you to join us or to create your own thing and do the same thing. This is unity.
This is
so
unity.
We ain't tripping if you bite it. I ain't gonna trip on you. I'm giving y'all this one.
It needs to be done. Like,
it needs to be done.
So, just coming off the heels, if you watched the show last Friday, we had Killer Mike on the show, and man, it was bigger than just having artists in here. Man, just to hear that man's story. So first of all, we got to give props where props are due in order. We would like to thank the DOC. We would like to thank Teslin. We would like to thank Killer Mike. And we would like to thank everybody that showed up for us.
Right.
Who showed up for the Barbershop Talk with Jeff and Frey podcast that Friday, man. Just the unity in that room. The people and the love that we had and the support from everybody. It started there before the interview even began. But, you know, the icing on the cake was him actually bearing his soul. And it really was an eye-opener to all of us, hopefully, when we started talking about unity and people playing their part. We really don't have time as a culture, because we behind the 8 ball anyway, to be divided. It's too much dividing us anyway, and there's so much talent and there's so many nuggets that we can all get from each and every one of us. There's something that somebody can add to the gumbo pot, mix it up, and it'll be something good and taste good for the culture. So, you know, it needs to start here.
let me ask you this though, and because I was invited and I was able to come to the Killer Mike, and more than anything, it was informational. You know, and it was informational on how he's building in his hometown in Atlanta.
Yeah, right.
You know, but that's a person of influence and creating a greater influence, right?
Right.
So for me, it's like not to trolley out for, but to have an understanding about, right?
Right.
What is it that we feel here that we need to do that can infuse unity into our community?
Well, doing this. So
Whatever, shot.
Doing this.
See you, bro.
Right now is a start. We Frey and I was talking this morning. I was on my way to work, and one of the things that we came up with is doing something like this. Unity. The conversation started based on something else, but our unity, and what's important in our community is that we learn how to come together and unite and help build each other.
Right.
So when I came up with it, he was like, "Oh, that's dope." And we came up with it together. I just kind of tweaked it and brainstormed it and came up with the united of, because we got to start somewhere.
Right.
And this is the perfect way to start. So what Mike has done was light a fire on us.
Right.
Everybody that was in here
Right.
should have got a fire lit under them.
Yeah.
And we're showing the fire lit under us by doing this.
Right.
The perfect way to get to a bunch of people at one time is on the internet. And if we got 50 listeners and you got 50 listeners and another podcast got 50 listeners, that's 150 people.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So however, the unity of podcasts and whatever platform you on one or two we on one or two platforms, we can broaden the spectrum by being on different platforms and bringing other people in that are on different platforms that have more followers.
Right.
So the unity of black people is very important. The unity of people is important, but what's important first is that black people learn how to come together.
And you think about it too. Each one of these podcasts, each one of these entities, they're all different. So that's an opportunity for each one teach one. We all can learn something from one another. We all can draw from one another. And it can be something greater than what it is. You know, not even just on a podcast level. When we were in that room, when we were here for Killer Mike, I watched the room. And I watched the networking between brothers, passing out numbers and exchanging information. This guy is a doctor. This guy's a lawyer. This guy's this. All of that information trickles down. So now we in a building with brothers who have assets and avenues and ways. So now there's no reason for you to not be able to go buy a car. There's a financial advisor in here.
Right.
There's no reason for you not to be able to go to the doctor when there's a doctor in here that can. All of these entities in this one gumbo pot, it works out for the greater good. And like you said, it has to start somewhere. Yeah. But we really came on here to talk about the division in our culture of black people and why is it so heavy. Now, we got a chance to witness yesterday via the social media world where a brother was attacked on a boat. We're not going deep all into that because everybody saw it. But we saw him attacked, and we saw our people rally to help him. Mm-hmm. And man, that sent the internet, social media in a frenzy. Oh, we won. That was a big W for our culture. Hated that it had to be in a negative light, but the positive side of it, it showed that it can be done. It showed that unity and us unifying as a united front for a cause can happen.
For me, man, you know,
Are we about to play devil's advocate?
Yeah, we're gonna go there.
Yeah, I know we are.
You know what I mean?
I want you to pass it this way
because unity is already being shown. It's just not being shown in a plus.
Right.
It's being shown in a negative, right? Because if you look at it, the majority of blacks that are collective and being in a community, you see blacks in a black community.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
being able to see blacks in a black community, they're there,
Right.
but they're not together.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you begin to look at it and then you begin to see what we do in this community, it's the same thing that you see that them do with on the boat with this white guy.
Right.
So are we really showing ourselves in a higher light? Are we showing ourselves in a positive light? Are we unifying in the best way?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all that this is going to do is take more blacks away. It's not going to allow more blacks to be able to stand up. It's not going to allow more blacks to stop going into a prison system. It's not going to allow blacks, man, to be able to create opportunities. We're showing ourselves in a light that's going to continuously, man, diminish who we are.
Right. And we said it. I'm known as the guy who takes the air out of the balloon, because in the social media world, this was a dub. You see all of the memes, the jokes, and all of that. I said it once that it to me, when I made my post yesterday, I felt like, they found out, because we've had enough of that type of stuff, the white privilege, as they call it. Let's just take it there and leave it there. But in the same breath, let me play devil's advocate. It goes back to our show before when we was talking about Black Lives Matter until it don't.
Until it don't, right.
Now, we see two women, one pregnant, fighting on videos, 2 or 3 women jumping on a skull dragging a sister. And there's a million other black people around recording it, but nobody's trying to stop it. But this was an actual situation where we could jump in and pounce on the white man.
Right.
So for me, I didn't take it as a dub per se. It showed me unity, but it didn't give me any kind of clarity, or it didn't really even make me feel good, because we're going to go right back to the same way we've been operating. And that right there just really didn't make me feel good. And on top of that, the memes and the jokes, it's like I'm over it already, because even though it happened, it didn't show us really in a good light, because we'll beat the brakes off each other and record it and laugh it and share it 50 million times, but there's no defense. There's nobody even trying to break it up when something like that is happening.
Right.
So did that really make us look good at the end of the day?
And that's why I said, man, because remember the movie Malcolm X, right?
Right.
And remember when the young man had went to jail, and so Malcolm had formed all of the brothers to march and then stand united,
right,
not causing no rift, but standing
united,
and refusing not to stand.
But here's the thing. I'm with you.
Let it out.
I just want to say that I'm with you. The thing about it is, it was a physical altercation, and in a physical altercation, when you don't want to respond with physical, you have to. You almost have to. The standing by, yelling stop. See, because it ain't like it's not like it was officers with guns.
Right.
These were white guys that felt that they could jump on another black guy.
Entitlement. That's what it was.
Exactly. It was entitlement.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, what you're saying is, going and standing in protest of this beatdown, but it's a physical beatdown.
And I'm not using it for that one moment. You know what I mean? That's just one moment.
Yeah, that's one moment.
So what I'm saying is in an overall thing, because my question is always what happens next.
Yeah, what happens
next?
You
see what I'm saying? So now what I'm saying is, we know we can't always be out here fighting.
Right.
Because we know we're gonna get we're gonna get the bottom of the buck.
Right.
So what do we do, or how do we form in order to make sure that we're not getting the bottom of the buck, but others take us as a unified front? They take us as a unified race.
I think some stuff has to start internally too. We got to start looking inward too. We got to search the heart of ourselves, including us. Like I have to search my heart to make sure that I'm in the right place when I decide to align myself with somebody, and that's what it's going to take. One of I know your favorite word is one of my favorite words too, is alignment. If your car is not in alignment, it wobbles, it shakes, it doesn't sways, it goes
one way or the other.
it doesn't go straight.
Yeah.
And even when you try to keep it straight, it rattles. It's out of alignment. So I think personally, if we want change, if we really want to get to another level to where we can unify and get out some of the division, it has to start internally. You have to really search the heart of yourself, and people have to, and the people that are around you. You got to make sure that there's no jealousy, there's no envy, there's no crabs in the barrel. Like, you have to eliminate that, because once you eliminate that, you can find the fruit and the solid ones that are like, hey, I want to march on. And you know, Jesus did it with 12, and it ain't gonna even take 12. Like you said, just us three doing this. Hopefully somebody watching this will see this podcast and say, you know what? He has a podcast. They have a podcast, but he's not envious of their podcast, and we not envious of yours.
Right.
But yet we came together as a collective to try to come up with a formula and some kind of solution to something that's hurting our culture right now.
Right.
For all of the people that's just joined us, we thank you for joining us. Today's topic is unity in the community. We're trying to the purpose of this podcast again is to attempt to bring the black community together. So what we've done is we've brought two podcasts together to do a podcast to unite podcasts, starting with the podcast. Say maybe we start with podcast. There's nothing violent about this,
Right.
so we can't we can sit down and have conversations and create avenues and resources and have a way to circumvent the nonsense.
And it's big because showcasing it in one thing allows you to be able to showcase it in multiple things. Because one can go into anything, can't nothing go into one.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we can showcase it from a podcast point of view, but that should be able to leak over into nonprofit points of view.
Right.
That should be able to leak over into community leader points of views.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and being able to come together and legitimately do it authentically.
Right. Yeah.
Do it because it has a true cause. It has a true purpose to do it.
Yeah.
Not because it's going to give me some likes. Not because it's going to give me some fame.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because it's actually going to help produce change.
We're not looking for likes. We're looking for usage.
Right.
We're looking for response, positive response. We're looking for
Resolution.
resolution.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah.
Resolution. We're looking for resolution, and I have one resolution, and it's the normal. It's the regular. Let's stop. Let's just stop. Just stop. You just
Yeah,
stop.
just stop.
Just stop. I mean, don't try. I don't want to hear we 400 years behind the 8 ball. I don't want to hear we've been brainwashed. I don't want to hear all the nonsense because if you know you've been brainwashed, if you can sit here and tell me that we've been brainwashed, that means you know you've been brainwashed, and that means you can do something about it.
Right.
So
It's
do
a
something
slippery
about it.
slope for me, and I'm gonna tell you why. And it's like we can all sit there and try to and identify the elephant in the room. We can't.
Right.
None of us really can. We have our opinions,
Mhm.
but none of us can identify the true green-headed monster, the elephant in the room that's causing this type of division. So my opinion, and I just feel like I don't want to use what you just said as an excuse,
Right.
but I will say ancestral. Some of the stuff that's in our DNA and stuff that we went through. Like, okay, I can get it out without just running down a rabbit hole. When you think about everything that us as a people have had to endure, we literally, legitly had to fight for it, right? It wasn't really just we had to stand up for something and damn near break our necks and put our lives on the lines as a culture to get things that other races have had, right?
Right.
So think about that, and you think about all of the stuff that has trickled down from generation to generation, from slavery down to now, is still embedded in us.
Right.
So I think a lot of times when the division comes is because a lot of us are still in fight mode.
Yeah.
I gotta get mine. I gotta
Right.
get mine. So when you have that mentality, you're not even open to nobody else's suggestions.
So
So is it safe to say that a little bit that could be?
it is, but we got to give ourselves some tools. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm a plumber, you know what I mean, there are particular tools I'm gonna have in order to fix pipes.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
If I'm a mechanic, there's a particular tools that I have.
Right.
You know, if I'm playing football, there are particular tools it takes to train me to be able to play this sport, right?
Correct.
So what we're talking about, we have to give ourselves some tools that we can actually have in order to be able to utilize to be able to be better.
Right.
The tools that we have right now, you know, are very ineffective, which means this is why we see ourselves acting in particular ways.
Well, you can't cut a steak with a dull knife.
That's true.
Facts.
So the tool that we need, we have the tools that we need. We need to sharpen the tools.
Facts.
Because we have the tools. The
Yeah.
tools are in the law.
Yeah,
We just need to sharpen ourselves on the law.
yeah,
The tools are right in front of you. The jobs, the education,
yeah.
you know, everything. Everything is trained. We have this conversation today. Me and you in the same boat.
Right.
3-time convicted felons.
Right.
You don't mind us?
Nah,
Yeah, okay.
everybody know.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Hey,
Three
transparency,
open book, bro.
man.
This is an open book.
Three-time convicted felons.
Yeah.
You know, and both did time. We both did prison time. I did federal and state. I don't know what you did state.
Out of state.
But so, if the law, if we weren't sharp on our law and our ways to get around in life, we wouldn't be where we are today. We would be back in the penitentiary. So you have the opportunity, just because there is a created cycle, don't mean ride the bike.
Right. And you know, I think it was a statement that says, travel the road that's less traveled by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is one of the things that I believe has to happen. You have to be able to really seek out those that's choosing the road that's less traveled by.
Right.
And also just keep a focus on that, not being ugly,
Right.
not being spiteful,
Right.
but being intentional, because this becomes an example
Right.
for the road that's wide open.
Right.
Because
Right.
you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because what happens is that will begin to see what this is creating.
Right.
That will begin to see how this is beginning to live.
Right.
That will begin to start to see the increase. And like anyone, you're gonna want what's better. So you're gonna want to find out. You're gonna want to see how to do this,
Right.
and not to continuously do that. So the first thing that I believe that we have to do is not so much worry about the mass, but worry about the collective.
Right, and exactly, that's what I was saying. When you think about the collective, at that point you have tunnel vision. The only thing you're looking at is the doers and the sincere doers,
Yeah.
because there are people that want results, and you have to have a spirit of discernment to see who's riding the coattail, who's riding the wave, or who's really flat-footed, planted, wanting change.
Right.
And it's all going to come from ideas too. I think what we should do the next time we have brothers sitting here, the brothers that show up, because they do show up.
Yeah, that's all they
They do show up. We do, and contrary to what people may think or what people may say, people will look at you in a way that they want to see you. That really doesn't matter, brother. As long as you know that you're doing the work and that you have something that you want to bring change. I feel like we should all come here and have a vision board party. Not a vision board party as in
For
a vision
ourselves.
for ourselves,
Yeah.
but ideas of how we can change some things. Like there's you said stop, right? We also have to stop using the word I can't.
Right.
Who said you can't?
Right.
I remember me and my sons were driving down the neighborhood one time. It maybe was Swiss Avenue, and Kyle was like, Daddy, you see how big these houses are? He's like, yeah, we would never live in a house like this. I said, don't tell you. Why can't you?
Mm-hmm. Don't you know? But this is what we don't realize about can't, because it's so often used, right?
Right.
Can't only means that that's someone that's operating with blocks,
Right.
blockages. Okay, so and to clarify, so it makes perfect sense, especially to the viewers, right?
I got you.
When you go,
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, when you have to use a restroom, but you saying I can't, it's showing you that you're what?
Right.
You blocked up. You're clogged up.
You blocked up.
So most people who are saying can't, there's not recognizing that there's a block right there.
Right.
Because it's not that you can't. It's just that there's
There's
a
a
block.
block, right?
Right.
So now when we begin to being workers of removing blocks,
Right.
now we have an open passage to be able to flow through.
Right.
There, that's
I like
a
that.
good
That's a
one.
good
My
one.
sister, Helena, just said, what is an example of things that we can do to continue the unity? It's unfortunate something bad has to happen to bring us together. So what's an example? What is an example of some things that we can do to bring forth unity? Well, since you asked, so you know what month this is, and y'all know where I'm going. August 28th is the anniversary, I know I hate that word, of Emmett Till's death. I myself, the founder of the Still Till movement, because it's very near and dear to my heart, I rally as many people as I can in a positive light to come take a photo. It's really a photo. It's not even a party.
Just a photo.
It's really it's a commemorative photo to let us know that we haven't forgot. But the unity amongst all of those people that show up turns into a party.
Yeah.
So we can start there by creating positive things that can bring us together. And it doesn't always have to be a back to school rally. It doesn't always have to be Juneteenth, because sometimes that's fluke.
Right.
You know, that it'd be fights and gun shooting. It seems like every time you try to unify us for something positive, the Martin Luther King parades, it's always something negative. So what I'm thinking, Helena, is we create just random things. I think if you don't put a label on it,
Right.
if you don't put a label on it, you might can get some better results. If you don't say this is the Juneteenth celebration, because you know they coming to celebrate that, and some people's way of celebrating is what? Being high, being drunk. So you're going to get a negative spirit in that. So if we start coming up with just random things, like the winter time is coming, springtime is coming, let's do like a fall in the parking lot, fall in the park. You know, we create this to where we just all come together for a cookout, get a big movie screen. Unity doesn't have to mean that we're fighting somebody.
No,
we're just unifying.
And in my mind, when you just said that, to me, it's like this. It's kind of, to me, things are simple.
That's
right?
true, Nikki.
Some things are simple, right? And what I mean by simple is you can be mad right now, but just because you're mad don't mean in a drop of a dime you can start smiling if you want to.
Correct.
Right? So now it's about what is it that I genuinely want. If I want unity, right? Then how about today I'm just going to operate in peace.
Right.
So now if I operate in peace, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to go to atmospheres. It's peaceful.
Right.
Yeah.
Inside of that atmosphere, it's going to have a collective feel. That's unity.
Right.
But what we're doing is we're not doing the small things. If it's the little foxes that are destroy the vine, they have to be the little foxes that builds it up too.
Right.
So now, if I want to be unified, what do I want to be unified with?
Right.
These are things that we're not addressing because people are in unity. You
So
know what I mean?
little-
They have
little-
unity, but it's not the unity that we're talking about.
Right.
The little foxes aren't being taught. They're being talked to, but they're not being taught
Right.
the things that are being said to them. See, so you can't at
That's
school.
what I say, not what I do.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, at school they teach kids. They read. They tell them to read the book. Read the book and tell me what you think about what you read.
Right.
That's pretty much it. But when I tell you what I think about what I read, I get a grade.
Right.
Right.
And if my grade is, if what I wrote is not suffice to the so-called teacher, I get a D or F.
Right.
And they never tell you why you got the D and or the F, other than this wasn't good enough.
Right.
And that's not good enough.
Right.
Because you need to teach me. That's why you have the and we're all teachers as well.
Yeah, we have the ability.
We have the ability to teach.
Yeah.
So if we tell a kid not to sell drugs, we have to tell them what to do other than sell drugs.
That's right.
And you have to tell them how to do whatever it is that you tell them what to do.
Yeah.
You have kids, and we all know this. Kids need instructions
Yeah.
and direction. You can't say wash the clothes without saying wash the clothes, put some detergent in it, put this amount, turn it to this, turn it to this. You have to do the whole gamut.
Right.
You can't just tell them to wash the clothes or put what your mom used to say, put those clothes in the washing machine. And so you put the clothes in the washing machine.
You don't mix whites, colored.
But she didn't tell you to wash them. She
Right.
just said put them in the washing machine. If you really follow instructions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now you got, like you said, now you got the whites and the colors and all that in the same washing machine. They not being washed.
Yeah.
Ain't no soap in them. They just in the washing machine. So when your mama come home, she mad because she told you to put the clothes in the washing machine,
Yeah.
but she didn't tell you to wash them.
So that's just like what you're saying is a lot of people have a misconception believing that people just understand or people should just know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Rather
that's
than
not
actually being able to just teach
right.
so that one can know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think go ahead, go.
Because we miss the boat when we don't give instructions, when we don't give directions.
Right.
Is no different. I like using this analogy because God gave everybody a GPS.
Yep.
Now he gives you the GPS. He also gives you the tools to travel throughout the GPS.
Right.
And as the road gets tougher, if you make a wrong turn, you still have the tools.
Right.
You just got to know how to use the tools. You know, and some of us, like me and you,
Yeah.
have used our tools
Yeah.
and had to resharpen them.
Wow, Nikki just said that. She said sometimes you can have the tools but don't know have the instructions to use
To
them.
use them,
Right.
yeah.
I mean,
So-
but watch this. Now let's be real and be honest, right?
Right.
How many of us have bought something that came with a manual but fixed it without using the manual?
Oh yeah, you done left a screw out that joint.
Yeah.
You done, where A and B was supposed to connect, A and C done connected,
You know what I mean?
and you done forced something into something.
Right.
And
So the understanding is that, man, if we're here, there was a manual
Mhm.
before we got here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
are we looking for the manual?
Mm-mm. We're not
Or are we
reading.
just trying to wing it?
You
to
know,
do it?
what everybody is doing is trying to rewrite the manual.
Yeah.
Because there's a manual.
Yeah.
There's a manual.
right.
If you read, if you're a biblical person, the Bible is a manual for life. The Bible
As kids,
is a,
we were told it was basic instructions
Okay.
before leaving Earth.
Exactly.
And let's do this. Because what if this talk show right now today, right,
Mm-hmm.
reaches someone that's all the way over in China that doesn't have a Bible, but they have a belief,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So can we be a unified people that accepts all the manuals? See, one manual may be good for me, but I shouldn't shun the other manual.
Right.
And
Correct.
this is
Right.
what we do, which causes more division.
Mhm.
Right.
You get what I'm
right,
saying?
Right.
Can I respectfully respect what manual leads you to be better?
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
you respect me for what manual leads me to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Even I don't like really just dabbling into the whole religion thing, but even if it's just personal, even if it's your spirit, you know what I mean? Is that in order? Is that in line? Like I said in the beginning, it starts internally first. I don't think that there's no African American person that likes the state in which our culture is in.
No.
Some of us just go along with it, but then there's some of us who are fed up with it, who want to see change. You know, one of the things I noticed growing up, man, when I used to watch not videos, but when I used to see documentaries in school about the movements, how unified they were, and they marched with a purpose. Like when you saw Martin Luther King, Montgomery boycotts, and Rosa Parks, these were stand-up men and women. I mean, suited and booted, head up high, with a purpose, and they wanted results.
Mm-hmm.
This culture today and age is like, we wait for the buffoonery to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get a George Floyd situation, but we get angry about it, but there's no resolution. You just want to go tear up some stuff, or you want to march, but in the marches you still sagging, you still high, you still ratchet, and it's like, listen, hold up 1 second real quick, and that doesn't produce anything. Now look at this, it does unify from state to state, coast to coast. It unifies, but not in the way that we need to see the results that we want.
So when it comes to what I'm hearing, right? When it does happen, you know why it happens? Because someone took the lead. But just because someone took the lead don't mean that they was fit to lead.
Right.
Facts.
So now when it happens, when someone do take the lead, someone follows.
Right.
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 So now we're following behind some that don't have the ability to truly lead.
Right.
Right.
So now I question, where are the actual leaders that can actually lead?
Right.
So the followers do what followers gonna do.
Right.
Follow.
Right.
Follow.
So now because now what you're having is a lot of people out here, man, that just following whatever looks good.
Right.
They following whatever feels good.
Yeah.
A genuine leader understands that this doesn't really feel good. If I want to be biblical, and I look at Jesus, right?
Right.
I remember Jesus going to the Garden of Gethsemane
Right.
to pray because he wasn't feeling good about what it had to happen.
Right.
But a good leader does what? Let the will be done.
Be done. Let the will be done. Yeah.
Right.
So now you have, look at it, it's all gone, but you got over 1 billion Christians.
Yeah.
Right.
Why? Because of, man, an act of leadership,
Right.
a model to follow.
Right.
So where is the model for us to actually follow?
The model.
Man.
The model. Yeah, that's a good question.
Sheesh.
The model for us to follow is that same model. I'm not telling everybody that they need to be Christians. I'm not telling everybody that they need to worship Christ. I'm telling everybody that they need to know who God is.
Exactly.
God is the key. However you believe in God,
That's the key.
Is the key. The two things that you need to have is belief in God, and a relationship with God.
True that.
That you need to have, and if you have those two things, you will get a better understanding of the guide.
Right.
I also
Go ahead.
I also equate it to us as men, leading. Like it's very personal to me to be a man of principle, be a man of substance, and to be a man of integrity because I have 2 sons.
Right.
I can't be out. I just really cannot afford to be out here on something that's gonna make. And it's not even an image thing,
Right.
but because they are my sons and I am their leader, they're going to follow.
Right.
So even in a relationship sense, a marriage sense, I can say this on this podcast in all true sincerity, that no woman should follow any man if he's not praying or if he has no vision.
Right.
He's headless. He's out of there. He can't direct you nowhere, and he's blind.
Right.
So you have to. It all goes back to having a personal relationship with God, because if a man isn't praying or asking God for any direction on his own life, he for darn sure can't lead nobody else anywhere.
Yeah.
And not even to just get into that, because don't want a rabbit hole. The thing is, we need results. We do. And us 3 men sitting at this table, we need to try to. This is the start. This is a good start. But see, a lot of things we do, it doesn't. It's not in the open.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't need the validation. We don't need the likes, and we don't need the cameras on us. Every Thursday we meet.
Right.
The men's circle. We meet here. What Saturday is that?
Every third
Saturday we meet here.
Yeah.
We're formulating plots to change it by what first? Changing ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're in circles now, mobilizing. If you're in the 40 club and above, I might be telling my age. When we were little, we had a cartoon called Voltron.
Are you high in your age?
No, I don't really.
We got a gray beard.
Hey man, look, babies be born with gray. I don't know. Anyway, but serious, straight up. When we was little, we had a cartoon called Voltron.
Right.
And it was 5 lions
Right.
that formed a robot. You had 2 legs, 2 arms, a torso that had the head.
Yep.
And that's how we're mobilizing in secret as men. When we get in these circles, when we get in these groups, each one of us glean and we hone in on one another. We learn from one another. You got the feet, you got the arms, the torso, and the head. That's a powerful robot. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we take these nuggets, and I hope and pray that we all go home in the privacy of our own homes trying to figure out what we learn from one another that can get us there. Because change can come. Like we have an opportunity at this point.
You know what? I like that analogy. And I'm not going to use the word devil's advocate, but I'm going to show you what happens to the Voltron. What happens to Voltron in the black community is everybody want to be the damn head.
Right.
Nobody want to be the feet. Nobody want to be the legs. Nobody want to be the damn torso or the arms or the hands or the fingers or the skin. Everybody wants to be the head.
I'm 42. I don't remember that cartoon. You were watching
Jim
or something.
What you just said is key, but also what you said was, you have to have a relationship with God. So now, let's look at this. Let's generally dive in a little bit. I don't mind going into a rabbit hole. It's dark down there.
It's dark down there.
And then inside of darkness, I understand that's what birth happens at.
Yeah.
So I want some things to come to life.
Come to life.
You know what I'm saying? To come into the light. So you got to be willing to go into that rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's go.
So when we look at unity, at first it has to have a starting point.
Right.
And it really do start with men.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. That's exactly where it started.
But it starts with a particular man. Not any man.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a man that is a God man.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because now that God man allows me to be able to be just the arm.
Right.
And do the operation of which this side is meant for me to do. And for this arm to trust this arm and not get in the way of it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It takes for one to have the head, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because the understanding of the head is only to mean to be an overseer.
Right.
This what allows everything to be able to be in good operation.
Right.
So now when we are actually operating as a God man, we have a clear understanding about our role, our positions, and we are able to follow that out.
Right.
First.
Right.
Women who see this man will follow this man, right? And if she follow this man, then children will follow after.
Right.
Right?
Right.
What we're doing, man, is just being men.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
You're doing what's natural.
What's natural.
Yeah.
Well, we're not even doing what's natural because what's natural, we're natural elements.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not doing what's natural. We're doing what's delusional.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Delusional.
I got to be able to call it for what it is so I can do it better.
Right.
And it is not to try to, like I said, it's not to try to shun anything. It's to bring light to something.
Right.
That man, I can do it better.
And sometimes you have to separate yourself from things. It doesn't make you a bad person because you decide to go another direction. It doesn't make you less of a man because you choose to operate some other kind of way. Because if you allow yourself to get caught up in it, listen, I heard a poet say one time, it's the internet, the net.
The net.
Yeah.
It's the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
It's the web. You get caught in
you
it.
Get trapped.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with all of the things social media has brought, it's really just almost like you watching a movie and you put on some glasses and you become zombified because now your whole thing is completely thrown out because you on that so much you don't even see that they mobilizing out here.
Yeah.
And that's why they got all these Oculus and all of this weirdo shit.
Y'all broke that down and I just wanted to say, and I was looking at that train and I'm thinking to myself, do you actually think that they sat down and thought of that
when they created
it?
Calling it the internet and the
World Wide Web.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I truly believe.
Okay, then watch this. What business do you know that you legitimately, a successful business that you opened that did not have a business plan?
Me.
At some point though, it's structured, right?
I mean, a business. So, are you referring to a written business plan, or you were referring because a business plan don't have to be on paper?
It don't have to be on plan, but it has to be a plan.
It has to be a plan. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're looking at a web, or you're looking at a net, before they designed it, before they came, it came with a plan.
Right.
You know what
drawn
I mean?
out.
It was drawn out.
Right.
So now when you realize it's doing well because it was a well drawn out plan.
Right.
There you
so
go.
what I mean, so I take that back because everything that I have done has been given to me by God as a thought, as an idea, as a dream, as a vision, and I thought about it and I put it together. I didn't write nothing down. So when we're talking about business plans, I created a business plan here when I had my barbershop in Wisconsin.
Right.
And I think I'm gonna do this. I want to do this. Writing stuff down. I ain't good at writing stuff down because I ain't cool with people stealing my stuff.
Right.
So I keep it in my head.
Right.
And I repeat it to myself over and over again. I think about it as I'm going to sleep.
Right.
I think about it because I've learned to keep my stuff to myself.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have let some things out that have gotten taken away from me, but keeping it,
we all
yeah,
That's right.
But being able to cultivate an idea and thinking about, just thinking about all of the play on words, I made sure my words were meaningful, astute, gentlemen. Those words are meaningful. Those words have a meaning, and people come because of the name, and people run because of the name.
Now watch this, and it's funny that you say that. Now here we are. We getting back to the subject at hand. Astute gentleman. When you hear that name, and you think about the service that you provide, it ain't 9 barbers in here, a bunch of hip hop music. It ain't it's a relaxed atmosphere for gentlemen. So you know what he's done? You've created something that has drawn men here.
Right.
I don't think a person sagging his britches, he might come in here.
And if they do,
he's accepted. Now I ain't saying that, but he might come in here, but he might look and be like, I don't fit the mold here.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can come in. That's where you get trapped at.
But
Listen, a good trap though.
Yeah, good
because
trap.
you come in here with your britches sagging. You come in here with a mentality, but you're gonna leave out here a man.
Yeah,
because it's enough gentlemen in here to groom you.
And I like it when you say that. When I first opened, I used to also have what was called the gentleman's closet, and I had a slew of belts. Fred will tell you, I had a slew of belts, bow ties, neckties, ascots, everything in the gentleman's closet. And I also had a display case up in the front under the TV. And dudes would come in sagging and say, man, hey man, do me a favor, get you one of these belts. So I probably gave more of the belts away than I sold.
Yeah.
But get one of them belts, man, and pull them up, go out, and I make them go outside,
come back in,
put the belt on, and come back in.
Right.
We don't do the sagging thing.
Right.
See that in everything that I do, it is my goal and my desire to groom a young man to not think the way that he always has thought.
So damn it, there it is right there.
Yeah.
When we talk about how do we bridge the gap,
Yeah.
how do we unify
Right.
the gifts and the tools that you have as a barber, the gifts and the tools that you have as a public speaker, the gifts that I have as a public figure. We take those now and we sit as men and try to formulate a plot to get those under us. You know, I brought my son here to watch the fight. He's 26. Rashad could have went anywhere he wanted to. He asked me, he said, where you? He said, you going to Unc's? I said, yeah, I'm going to watch the fight. I'm coming with you. Out of nowhere. I said, all right, come. And in my mind, I said, it's going to be life-changing for him. Because he's never really just came in there and hung out. He probably done stopped through and bounced, but because I can't drop something off and left. So it's an opportunity for him to truly see how men mobilize.
Right.
He got his little cigar. He went in here, bought his old fashions. He sat in his little seat and watched the fight. But when we got in that car, he was like, Pops, this is what I need to be around. He's like, I see you,
Yeah.
but I kind of see where you get it from.
Right.
And I tell him all the time, it's because I'm around men. I'm around guys that I can draw from. A lot of them are older because they've been there, they've done that, they've seen it. I'm trying to get to where they're going. And in unifying, and also how we can change the culture, it ain't even how we can. People just have to open up their mind to change, for change.
Right.
You can't be stuck. Like,
But them are the ones. Those are the ones. Those are the ones. The ones that mind are not open are the ones that will eventually become open because they seen somebody
Something
whose
that-
mind.
so they follow.
So you
Right,
got
right,
somebody
right.
that they follow because the people that minds are not open, they are following somebody else that mind is not open.
Yeah.
When that person gets a mind, his open mind, like it's like a homeless person that don't really want to be helped. They just want the money so they can do whatever they want to do. But if you open their mind, and that's where we come in at.
Mm-hmm.
We are men of conversation, men of words, men that know how to put words together. That's what astute means.
Right.
And we know how to put the words together and have unique and generous conversations and have the tools, use the tools what they're for.
Right.
Because you got a coat hanger. But a coat hanger is not just to hang a coat on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And to piggyback, because when I first came here, that was something just in the atmosphere that drew me, that attracted me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you are a man, you want to be in a space when you're around men of men. I don't hang on the corner no more
Right.
because that's not the man I am.
Right.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But when I come into a space and I see men that reflects me,
Right.
then I want to be in the reflection of myself.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And then those conversations, remember what you asked me? You said, man, how was the talks over there?
Mm-hmm.
And what did I tell you? I said, it was all good.
Right.
It was all enlightening. Why? Because I'm in an atmosphere of those type of men.
And you didn't know anybody else.
I didn't know nobody.
Yeah.
Listen.
I was doing some temperature tests because I saw you and my brother over there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just threw them to the wolves. But they're not. Y'all are not kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't have to go over there. Hey, you good, bro? You good, bro? The spirit is just gonna engulf you and embrace you and hug you, and you're just gonna feel it, and you're gonna be like, man, I'm at home.
Right.
Like
In
you at
unity,
home.
Yeah.
in unity, the one thing about unity is that the people that you're attempting to pull in to unite have to want to.
Right.
And I can use this podcast for if we were talking about something else other than black people uniting, it would be 1,000 people
Through the
watching
roof.
this.
If we was talking about ratchet stuff and pimping,
Yeah, and pimping,
Yeah.
and all the other, it'd be 1,000 people on here.
Yeah.
You're gonna, God damn, dog, you gonna stop.
But you know, I appreciate that.
shut up.
I appreciate
Right,
that. I'm gonna
right.
tell you why. Because I said from the beginning, my focus is on the collective.
Right, the collective.
My
So the
focus
five,
is not on the mass.
yeah,
Yeah,
So-
yeah. My
So-
brother,
so-
if I got one person,
Yeah.
if I got one person to tune in, if we, not I, this is our
yeah,
podcast.
yeah. No, you good.
If we got one person to tune in for the whole hour, I reach that one person.
Yeah.
And that one person is gonna go tell. It's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
But as we continue to talk about unity, one of the key things that we are missing is love.
Mm-hmm.
It's love. Like, we just have to check our egos at the door. Put the anger aside. Put the malice aside. You feel some type of way about me. I feel some type of way about you. That's we not gonna ever really get here with that space in between.
Right.
So somebody has to be the bigger person. Extend the olive branch. It doesn't hurt nobody to say I'm sorry. It doesn't. And we can get 10 times further than we are with just those two words. I'm sorry.
I understand that the person or people that you talk bad about, because we're on that. If you talk bad about one person, you talk bad about everybody that's in the circle. You know, and it touches or affects
The circle.
the circle.
The
You know,
echoes
and we
of
don't.
your,
That's
the
not what we
echoes of your
want to do.
words
Yeah.
is what always presents itself back to you.
Right.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we begin to understand what we're allowing to come out of us, then we'll begin to understand why we're beginning to see what it is that we're seeing.
Right.
Right.
So, and I say that because when I begin to monetize what I say,
Mhm.
and I begin to be intentional in what I say, I begin to start to seeing
Right.
Yeah.
what I was saying.
And the one thing, even in my 46 years of living, I always do reality checks. I always hold the mirror up to myself. I am not afraid to stand in that joint naked and look at that mirror and see who I am. And sometimes I'm not always 100.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have to look at myself and say, "Yo, Frey, you fucked up today, bro. You made a bad move today. That wasn't a wise decision." And everybody that truly knows me, and I know for y'all, knows that I am emotionally driven. You poke the bear, cause I don't bother nobody. Y'all are truly my brothers.
Right.
Train, you've been knowing me since we was knee high to a grasshopper. I don't bother nobody. But when I always feel like when I'm under attack or when you poking the bear, one of my best assets and my worst is my mouth. I could say I write poetry. I could say the sweetest things, but it's also a loaded AR-15. And when I start rattling out, when I feel like I'm poked or provoked, I'm like that dog in the corner. You're gonna see all my teeth, and it's just and at that moment, I'm driven off emotion, and I'm just gonna say whatever. And that's not always good. And that one person that probably took me there could have been the one that I could have reached that could help me get everybody to the side by side.
Yeah.
You and I could have led more people, but because of my emotions, now there's distance between you and I, and something that we both knew could possibly work, and we could build something. I have torn it up.
Yeah.
So this is me being transparent and saying, in order for me to unify people, in order for me to be on the front line with my brothers, I have to check Kafre at the door a lot of times, bro. And that's what has to happen to everybody. You really have to see yourself before you start marching.
Yeah.
Because if your intentions ain't, your motives and your intentions ain't pure, you really in the you were one of them people amongst the group. While we marching for a cause, you got your phone out. Yeah, we marching. Da, 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 da. And that's not good. I'm just saying that to say that if your intentions are you messing up the flow.
Yeah,
We
if you
rowing,
have-
dog.
if you have
This is
pure
this is
intentions.
that synchronized rowing in the Olympics. If you rowing and you rowing, and I done stopped to do this shit, dog. Everybody, other countries done passed us by in the boats, and we have to start mobilizing out of emotion, using our minds to get the results that we want, brother.
Controlled emotion.
Controlled emotion. Yes, controlled emotion.
And I'm saying this because how many times do you hear people just saying, well, man, you know, they triggered me. They hit my trigger.
Right.
Okay, well, guess what? It ain't the gun that killed him.
It's the person that
It's
pulled
the
the
person
trigger.
who pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that means that I have to be a person that knows my triggers and works on my triggers.
Yeah, the gun
that
don't
I'm
never
not,
get convicted.
I'm no longer triggered, so I
Right.
can
Say
be
that
able-
again.
The gun don't never get convicted.
Nah,
The
Right.
gun never gets convicted.
Nah.
And I know now where I'm going. And it's crazy because you have people that follow you. Jeff can say, "Hey, I'm having this," and a million people show up.
Right.
Train, you already know if you post meet me here,
Yeah.
the army behind you.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. I hate to say this, but look at the photos.
Yeah.
We mobilize.
Yeah.
When I say move,
They come.
they coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now Kafre has to say, whoa, because I know I have that power.
Yeah.
Shake
Don't abuse it. Don't
check
abuse
that
it. Yeah.
emotion
Yeah.
at the door.
Yeah.
Because I have to go back to this. The first steel till in two ways. I forgot to mention this the last time. It was a particular woman who was mad about something, and man, she was talking down on steel till and how you gonna be trying to have something like that? And she was just mad because I didn't want to talk to her or something like that. And that's what it was. I'm not, man. That was, yeah. And she was mad. She was mad because I didn't want to pursue a relationship or something. And we're not saying no names of girl and all that, but she tried to derail Still Chill, something that I had been pillow talking with her about, and she seen how passionate I was about it. Tried to derail it. Then we had the other situation. Mm-hmm. This cancer actually came to it, shirt on and everything, brother. All in the pictures, blended in, yeah. But was really going around to each person injecting poison. But you know what? God blocked all of that. Yeah. So I learned from them too who I really was, because at that moment when I seen all my friends out, everybody was having a good time. If I could have really just stepped out of car, I could have messed that up, bro. And that was something beautiful, man.
You know what I say about negativity? If you remember in science class, you take the two magnets, and if you flip one of them around, the negative can't touch.
Yeah, they wouldn't connect. They wouldn't connect.
It'll push it across the table.
Right.
That negative person is pushing you away from him.
Right.
And pushing you in the direction that you need to go, which is away from him.
Right.
Or her, whoever it is. Right. You know, but in order for those magnets to touch and unite, you have to flip it over, right, so that it touch.
Right.
And then the positive and the negative will get together, and now you make
something beautiful.
You make something beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and you make something loud, like a subwoofer. Subwoofers, when you compile magnets on top of magnets on top of magnets, the subwoofer can give you more. It gives you more power.
And one of the things that we do is what we glorify.
Yeah.
And what we glorify, it begins to magnify.
Yeah.
Mm. So there's not a balance in it, right?
Exactly.
Right. Because if there's going to be a place of positive, right, negative going to be there. It has to.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If it's going to run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what I begin to do is when I'm positive and I begin to see the negative, I address the negative rather than address being positive, and I allow the negative to be negative. It will run better.
Right. True. It keeps you out of a place, because sometimes when you're trying to get the negative to be positive like you, sometimes the negative don't want to be positive, and it's a repetitive cycle of you. And what happens to you is all that positivity begins to drain you. Yeah. And you're no longer as strong as you were because you were still trying to conform the negative. Yeah. And they ain't budging.
And watch this. It could be the opposite way around for the positive.
Yeah.
Because if the positive is somewhere where there's a high negative, guess how the negative is going to look at the positive?
Yeah.
Like the positive is negative.
Yikes.
Okay.
But that's facts.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what has to happen is I have to allow what is to be and be okay with it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not arguing with the day because the light is out.
Yeah.
Like I'm not arguing with the night because it's dark outside.
Yeah.
Right.
So why am I doing this with individuals?
Right.
Facts.
When we begin,
we going I think we're gonna continue this conversation, man.
Because
this conversation is real good. I mean, we out of time.
People want results too.
Yeah, people.
We are a culture of people that are really tired, but a lot of us don't have
the results.
And don't have the results, and it's not enough people to help us steer in that way. I think, we should come up with a positive Facebook page. Come up with a positive Instagram. That way, the only thing we posting on there is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
If you got something going on, follow the positive page. Put that in there so people can start seeing where this is at, where they going, and join in. But there are ways, and for those who have watched the podcast, we appreciate y'all. As always, y'all have given us an hour of your time, but yes, there are ways. And if you are tired, even if you have something, those that are watching, those that are viewing, if you have some things that you want to do, don't be afraid to step out and try it. You build it, they will come. As long as it's positive and you're attracting the right people.
Is it the barbershop?
This is
the
barbershop. Hey, I love it, baby.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I'm the barber.
I'm the artist, and he's the train. And we out.
Here, baby.
Is this the barbershop? Yes, the shop. That ain't nobody exempt. You can talk about whoever and whatever, whenever you want to in the barbershop. healthy conversation. Healthy conversation. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. There ain't nobody exempt. There ain't nobody exempt. This ain't nothing but healthy conversation. Healthy conversation. Man, I love this.